They fight and bite and protest, and fight and bite and fight and protest. Fight, 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 wave a sign. The Itchy and Scratchy and Marjorie Show. Hi, I'm Torin, and welcome to Torin Loves the Simpsons. Today we're looking at Season 2, Episode 9, Itchy and Scratchy and Marge, an episode where Maggie, ever the badass, beats Homer up with a mallet, prompting Marge to spearhead a campaign against cartoon violence. Let's dive on in. As for humor, this episode sneaks its way in with a slow and subtle first few minutes, including this fantastic visual joke in the titles of Homer's how-to books. There isn't an absolute ton of jokes, but what we have is really solid. A big part of what I love about a lot of the jokes in this episode is the way they're paced, which I attribute to both great writing and great voice acting. There's this excellent attention to the detail of giving joke setups just the right amount of time to develop before the punchline hits, so the viewer has time to follow what's going on without things feeling even a little drawn out. The best example of this is the Itchy and Scratchy scene where Itchy knocks Scratchy's eyes out with the sledgehammer and gives him bombs as replacement eyes, and Scratchy goes about his life as normal, which is itself a pretty wacky joke, and the timing of his realization that he has bombs in his face and the subsequent explosion is right where it needs to be, giving us just enough time for the wacky "he can see with bombs for eyes" joke to sink in before hitting us with the real punchline. This also constitutes one of the fabled joke combos I've talked about in a couple previous reviews, where we follow up the bombs for eyes joke with the perfectly timed realization and explosion. We're still only getting short 2 punches at this point. We still haven't seen like 5 jokes in 10 seconds yet, but this is still a step in the right direction. Also, we have another certified S-tier moment in this episode, because let me introduce you to Krusty's old friend, Corporal Punishment. The pun alone is enough to place this joke in S tier, but the pacing of the writing and delivery of the voice acting are also spot on. Also, I may be reading too much into it, but I also see it as a commentary on the practice of corporal punishment, which, for anyone not familiar with the term, refers to the act of hitting children as a method of discipline, portraying it as associated with incompetence and tone deafness, which is a portrayal I think is accurate because hitting your kids is bad. All in all, Krusty's pal Corporal Punishment is a good friend. Glad to have him around. I don't think there's really a whole lot more to say about the jokes in this episode. There are some really great moments in this episode. They're mostly in the middle and towards the end, so we have a weaker start, which does hurt things a little. I'm on the fence on where exactly I want to place this episode's humor. It's borderline S tier quality, but I don't think it quite makes it. I'm giving it an A+. And now for the plot. As always, I can get behind a good Marge story because I think she's just a fantastic and compelling character. This episode doesn't make quite the best use of her at the end, which I'll come back to in a bit, but I just love seeing Marge getting out there and making things happen. And I really like how this episode actually takes a moment to show how protesting is a drain on Marge's time, and she, very realistically, can't juggle everything perfectly. So she takes the perfectly reasonable shortcut of serving microwave dinners to the family instead of cooking. It's really nice to see that realism and that kind of detail explored. And Marge is portrayed as a relatively realistic example of a fantastic parent and homemaker without being portrayed as a superhero. And this episode is also the first appearance of Kent Brockman's TV program Smartline, which I absolutely love. It's a fantastic satire of stupid TV debate shows like Crossfire. Smartline makes fairly few appearances over the years, but they are consistently fantastic. I also find the overly saccharine version of Itchy and Scratchy to be absolutely delightful, and I love every moment of it, but especially the theme song. But it's when the kids of Springfield all start to go outside as a result of the new Itchy and Scratchy that the episode starts to lose me. And especially when the kids start to learn 60s style table manners. That is quite a stretch, my dude. Like, sure, it's a sitcom plot. It doesn't really have to make sense. But especially for the style of season 2, it's nice when it does. And then, like I said earlier, I feel like the episode doesn't make great use of Marge at the end. I hate how, on her second Smartline appearance, she just folds under the slightest bit of pressure, even though there's an easy and absolutely perfectly cromulent counterargument that violence hurts people and nudity doesn't. I don't mean to say I necessarily agree with Marge, I don't think I do, but like, she isn't even remotely backed into a corner and she just waves the white flag. I feel like it's probably because the episode does need to end, but I think Marge deserves a better conclusion than just giving up as soon as things start to get complicated. And then the very end, when Homer and Marge are looking at the statue of Dave together and Homer tells Marge the elementary school kids are all coming to see it, that feels like a cop-out to portray Marge as feeling like she gotta win even in the face of defeat. First off, why would they make every elementary school kid see David when it's such a controversy in town? But also, how does that address Marge's concerns about cartoon violence? It's kinda cool to see a plot where the hero doesn't actually win in the end, and I'm not sure it needs this ending, unrelated to Marge's actual premise, to lift things up. But I'll end things on a high note before finishing off the plot section. Guest actor Alex Rocco is just fantastic as Roger Myers Jr. He is the character's true voice. In the episodes where Hank Azaria did the voice, it's close enough, but Rocco took things to another level. So with that all said, I think this plot is really quite good for most of the episode, but the ending doesn't hold up. It doesn't ruin things by any means, this plot gets an A-, but I think it was really close to S tier and could have been a classic. But now for the final rating. We have an A+ for humor and an A- for plot. I'm going with A+ overall, even if I don't totally love the ending plot-wise, it's still a great one. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Up next, we're looking at Bart gets hit by a car, so I will see you in that video.